I would like to reconvene the meeting from closed session and call this meeting to order for the City Council meeting of August 17th, 2021. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll and make a brief announcement about accessing the meeting?
Councilmember Cordero.
Here.
Councilmember Escobedo.
Here.
Councilmember Soto.
Here.
Councilmember Waterfield. Here. Madam Mayor Patino.
Here. And City Attorney, Mr. Watson.
Let me make the announcement.
Oh, I'm sorry, you need to make the announcement.
In order to participate in the City Council meeting virtually, please register to speak using the link on the agenda under public comment or call 1-669-900-9128 and use webinar ID number 899-8149-6973. To raise your hand to speak on a particular agenda item, please use the raise hand button in the Zoom meeting portal. If you are using a phone, please press *9 on the telephone keypad to raise your hand to speak. Press *6 to unmute your phone. When it is time to speak, your microphone will be unmuted for the time allotted by the mayor and will be muted upon completion of your comment.
Thank you. City Attorney, Mr. Watson, would you please give us a closed session report?
Yes, ma'am. With respect to the case Shane Horton versus City of Santa Maria, instructions were provided to council. No further report.
Thank you. First item on our agenda this evening is a proclamation, and I will be making the presentation. Whereas the time is fast approaching for the 78th Annual Elks Rodeo and Parade, September 2nd through the 5th, 2021, in the city of Santa Maria, considered by many to be the event of the year. And whereas the Santa Maria Elks Rodeo Queen Kickoff took place on Saturday, August 14th at the Santa Maria Elks Lodge 1538, unveiling candidates sponsored by local nonprofit organizations. And whereas continuing the tradition of Clarence Minetti and Leland Butch Seamus, hundreds of loyal Elk Lodge 1538 members have volunteered and been drafted to help make this rodeo a tremendous success. And whereas Santa Maria Elks Rodeo Parade will begin at 9 o'clock on Saturday, September 4th, and continue down Broadway from Mill to Enos Streets. And whereas it has been a long-standing tradition to begin wearing Western clothes several weeks prior to the Elks Rodeo. Now, therefore, I, Alice M. Patino, Mayor of the City of Santa Maria, hereby proclaim August 1st through September 5th, 2021 as Go Rodeo Days in the city of Santa Maria, and encourage all residents and businesses to enter into the rodeo spirit of wearing Western apparel. In witness thereof, I have hereto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Santa Maria to be affixed the 17th day of August, 2021. And here to accept will be Peter Sterling and other members.
I'd just like to express my thanks. The last year and a half or so have been quite challenging for us, but we really appreciate the support that we received from the City Council and from our community. And this rodeo does belong to our community, and we're very happy to be a steward. And we've had some very successful, last year, some very successful entertainment with Christmas in the Country and our Haunted Halloween, and we very much appreciate the support that we've received. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You guys do a great job. Next, we will have the public comment period. Madam Clerk, could you please read the criteria for the public comment period of the agenda?
This time is reserved to accept comments from the public on consent agenda items, closed session items, or matters not otherwise scheduled on the printed agenda this evening. Unless otherwise directed by the mayor, speakers will have 3 minutes to comment. Direction to staff may be given. However, state law does not allow action to be taken on matters not on the printed agenda this evening. Once the public comment period commences, no other speakers will be allowed to submit a request to speak for them. And I have 2 requests to speak here in the building and none at this moment on Zoom.
Thank you. So you can set the timer for 3 minutes. So Lynn, is it Buchert or Bouchard? Oh. Good evening. And then Gary Hall will be second speaker.
So I just wanted to touch on the building, all the building going on. Right now, when we should have a moratorium, building moratorium because of the water issues. We have no water. And also, I think that we should be focusing on all the crime that's going on in the city. We need to put our resources to that versus out to build soccer fields or to do anything like that. I think we just need to curb everything and fix the crime. Now, I don't know how much the soccer field actually is going to cost. I heard 1.5, then I heard 3.2, and then I heard 8 million. So I don't know what it is.
It's all of the above, actually, because the county gave us 1.5, I think, and I think a field will just build that much.
Well, it's nice to get a firm number because everybody keeps throwing little bits out here and there.
Well, I mean, for the whole complex is why they came up with the 8.
Right.
So that's with the park, or not park, but the parking lot and with restrooms, it costs more, yeah.
Right, and what I'm saying right now, at this time, it's not the time to be doing that. It's to get the crime in control. We have a business that everybody knows here, and everybody loves them. They're good people. They've been there for us through the toughest times in our life. They were robbed 3 times in a row. 3 times. 1, 2, 3 times in 2 weeks. And they were told there's nothing that can be done about it. They've put cameras, they've put alarms, they've done everything they can. So what do? Leave? We're going to have those good people leave us? To what, be replaced by bad people? I think you guys need to stop and look what you're doing to Santa Maria. We can rebuild Santa Maria. We can bring it back to the way it was. We can make it beautiful. $8 million is a lot of money. We could revitalize West Main and bring it back. But you guys want to move on. You want to move away from Santa Maria. You want to move to Orchid area. You want to abandon the North people when they've been here for you guys for everything. Anyhow, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Ms. Waterfield? Yeah.
Can we address the court system that they don't, they're taken to be booked and then they are released?
No, they're not going to be.
I mean, that's what we're dealing with. We try to bring them in, but then, and our chief can probably speak to that, yeah.
I love our police officers. They do the best job. God bless them all. They need the resources and they need the backing. And you guys dictate to them what to do. The money's there, reclassify it. Straighten this mess up. It's on you guys.
Thank you. Gary Hall? Good evening, Mr. Hall.
Good evening. Can you hear me all right with the mask?
Yes.
Madam Mayor, council members, my name is Gary Hall. I'm a resident of Rancho Buena Vista Mobile Estates at 2135 North Railroad Avenue here in Santa Maria. I represent the North Santa Barbara County Mobile Homeowners Team. Some of my colleagues are here on the front row. I apologize for not providing my public comments since December 3rd, 2019. Tonight, I hope to bring you up to date by providing a brief mobile home rent stabilization status report. Clearly, we still have unfinished business. On November 19, 2019, you adopted Resolution 2019-129. Since then, little has changed. Annual rent increases continue to outpace cost of living income adjustments. Rental rates continue to increase inappropriately at time of sale. Housing affordability for many of us in Santa Maria remains in crisis mode. The cost of fighting the coronavirus pandemic has been lumped on top. Where will it end? The fact is, the park owners of 5 of 15 Santa Maria parks have even bothered to sign the enforcement agreement, an agreement that favors them. Residents of La Maria and other parks have received no model lease information. They have received absolutely no benefit from the 2 years we spent, 2018 and 2019, on the rent stabilization effort. That's unfair, and they deserve more than that from the city we all love to call home. In late 2019, too many mobile homeowners finding no suitable alternatives still felt obligated to accept and reluctantly sign the long-term leases as offered by park owners. A few, but very few, signed the Model Lease 2020 leases. Some of us chose to limit the term of our park offered leases to 1 year. In that way, should the City of Santa Maria enact a rent stabilization ordinance, we and all the future mobile homeowners could enjoy the protection as early as 2021. Of course, that didn't work out. But we haven't given up. Additionally, the state of California recently passed AB 2782, which provides currently exempted long-term leaseholders access to the benefits of a rent stabilization ordinance no later than January 2025. Excuse me. As a reminder, on October 15, 2019, I delivered to you and staff a draft version of a Santa Maria rent stabilization ordinance. The ordinance is fashioned after existing and successful rent stabilization ordinances from other California jurisdictions. It establishes limits on how mobile home park rents can be increased. It provides fairness to both the manufactured homeowner and the park owner. It includes a fair return standard that guarantees the park owner can receive an appropriate return on his or her investment. The draft ordinance was provided to staff and act as a convenient starting point. One more sentence. We look forward to working with you in developing and passing this important ordinance. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, and thank you for your continued service.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. This concludes the public comment portion of the agenda. Before we move on, Mr. Stillwell, did you wish to make any comments?
No, Madam Mayor, no comments, but we will follow up with Mr. Hall on the rent stabilization issues he raised.
Thank you. Moving on to the consent calendar, Madam Clerk, could you please read item number 3?
Routine items are presented for City Council approval without discussion as a single agenda item in order to expedite the meeting. The consent calendar is approved by roll call vote with one motion. These items are discussed only on the request of council members. As an additional note to council members, for second readings on ordinances like what we have on the agenda this evening, the recorded vote you previously made will be the same vote on the ordinances tonight. So there's no need to pull the item to re-record your vote on the ordinances unless you have a change to your vote that is different from your prior vote.
Thank you. Does anyone have items they wish to pull for discussion? None? Okay.
If not, Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a recommendation to adopt the consent calendar as submitted.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the consent calendar and a second. Having heard the motion and second, any further discussions? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Waterfield.
Aye.
Councilmember Soto.
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero.
Aye.
Councilmember Escobedo.
Aye.
And Madam Mayor Patino.
Aye. Next, we have a public hearing. Madam Clerk, could you please read the title?
Yes, the City Council will consider the Block Grants Advisory Committee's recommendations for the 2021-22 Community Development Block Grant Funding Priorities.
Okay, the staff report is to be made by Community Programs Manager, Ms. Rojo.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. Before you tonight, we come before you tonight to adopt a resolution accepting the Block Grants Advisory Committee's recommendation for fiscal year 2022-2023 Community Development Block Grant, better known as CDBG, funding priorities. On an annual basis, the Block Grants Advisory Committee reviews the priorities outlined in the city's 5-year consolidated plan and decides whether the priorities need to be modified based on the unmet needs of the community. These priorities are one of the tools used by the committee and you, the City Council, to determine what activities and projects should receive funding to maximize the impact CDBG funds have on city residents. As part of the CDBG funding process, staff conducted a community needs workshop on Monday, July 26th. A dozen people attended the online workshop, and many whom spoke before the committee expressed their concerns on the unmet needs. As you can see on your screen, the needs expressed include abuse, trauma victim assistance, affordable housing, food insecurity, homeless services, legal services, senior services, tattoo removal, transportation, and youth services. The needs expressed at this meeting are all reflected in the existing CDBG funding priorities, therefore no changes to the verbiage are recommended. The proposed The proposed recommendation is that the priorities continue to remain the same for this upcoming fiscal year. And here is 2 of the 4 priorities. The first one is to prevent homelessness, address a critical need, and assist at-risk youth, elderly, and underserved populations. Number 2, expand educational development opportunities. Number 3, provide affordable housing. And number 4, revitalize existing neighborhoods. And just a reminder that the numbers next to the priorities are simply there as a reference and not to rank them. Also, priorities 1 and 2 will only be considered for public services funding. This will narrow down the applicants who seek CDBG public services funding and also better reflect the community's needs. Capital funding will consider all 4 priorities. This concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions at this time.
Any questions of the council? None? Okay, I'll open up the public hearing. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
No, Madam Mayor, we have no request to speak
Do we have-
in person or on Zoom.
No written correspondence?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll close the public hearing and bring this item back to the council for any discussion or a motion.
If there's no discussion, Madam Mayor, I'd like to recommend to adopt a resolution approving the Block Grant Advisory Committee's recommendation for FY 2022 to 23 Community Development Block Grant Funding Priorities.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution approving the 2022-23 CDBG funding priorities. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Waterfield.
Aye.
Councilmember Escobedo.
Aye.
Councilmember Soto. Aye. Councilmember Cordero.
Aye.
Madam Mayor Patino.
Aye. Next,
you.
we have a regular business item to consider. Madam Clerk, could you please read the title?
The City Council will receive the 4th quarter financial report ending June 30, 2021.
This is a better report than we thought, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey.
Hey, good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members, staff, and public. Tonight, I will briefly present the 4th quarter financial report for the period ended June 30th, 2021. Although these are not audited numbers and balances will change as normal year-end adjustments are recorded, the report does give a general picture of how the city ended the fiscal year. I will primarily review the general fund, including Measure U, and enterprise funds. The beginning general fund balance of $10,071,000 is the balance at July 1st, 2020. Concerning city revenues through the fourth quarter of fiscal year, sales tax receipts are $4.6 million, or 21% more than the 4th quarter last fiscal year. The increase is due to growth in allocations from the county and state pools because of the 2018 Supreme Court Wayfair decision. That decision enabled the state to establish new rules requiring out-of-state retailers to collect and remit sales tax for goods sold online to customers within the state. Sales growth in autos and transportation, building and construction, and business and industry categories also contributed to the higher revenue. Revenues generated from the restaurant and hotel category are improving, but year-to-date are lower than the previous fiscal year. Property tax received to date are $1.1 million, or 5.1% greater than last fiscal year, and exceeded projections by 3.6%, or $768,000. Transient occupancy tax, or TOT, receipts through June are approximately $302,000 more than last fiscal year, and surpassed the estimates by about $393,000, or 14.3%. There was a significant uptick in TOT receipts in the 4th quarter and account for about $1.3 million, or 40% of the TOT revenues for the entire year. The surge is attributed to COVID cases dropping in April, May, and June, and more people being vaccinated, and society starting to travel. NHIS revenues are about 37%, or $425,000 less than last fiscal year, with receipts about $723,000 exceeding projections of $200,000. The majority of NHIS material received during the 4th quarter came from Chevron's San Luis Obispo Tank Farm Facility project and from several other smaller projects. Although some projects are expected to begin in the first quarter of 21-22, the recent increase in coronavirus and uncertainty of further restrictions, city staff continues to project nominal NHIS activities in 21-22 in comparison to previous years. Permit revenue is at approximately $3.2 million, exceeded budget by 53%, and is $196,000 more than received in 2019-20. The higher revenue is due to the significant increase in permits issued for accessory dwelling units, also known as ADUs. For the fiscal year of 2021, 327 permits for ADUs were issued, with 110 in the fourth quarter alone. In addition, permits were issued sooner than anticipated for the start of the construction at the Enos Ranch West Shopping Center, and we've also received more applications for residential and commercial tenant improvement. Turning to the general fund expenditures, they are at 100.2% of budget and include a transfer totaling $4.9 million, with the Local Economic Augmentation Fund, or LEAF, the General Capital Project Fund, and Reserve for Unfunded Pension Benefits Reserve, each receiving 1/3, or about $1.6 million. The City Council authorized, as part of the 2022 budget, all general fund revenues above expenditures as of June 30th of each year be transferred equally between those three accounts. Excluding the $4.9 million, general fund expenditures were $69.7 million, or $4.7 million under budget. About half of this budget underrun, $2.3 million, is from salary savings because of positions vacancies in various operating departments. Some salary savings occurred because the city delayed filling positions to achieve budget savings in the current year in order to help protect employees and avoid layoffs in the future. Budget for staffing is about 70% of total general fund budget, and therefore personnel costs and rising personnel costs are the main driver of city budget stability over the next few years. It is important to note that these vacant positions are vital to providing services to the community, and the longer it takes to fill them, the heavier the workload is on existing staff. In other words, this high vacancy level cannot be maintained in the long run without significant impact to service levels. Concerning Measure U, revenues through the fourth quarter are more than budget at about 129.3%, or about $22.4 million. The higher than expected revenues are from increases in allocations of the county and state pools, expenditures of nearly 18 million are at 94% of budget, or approximately $1.2 million under budget. The majority of the budget underrun, nearly $800,000, is due to vacancies in the police department. Recruitments for those positions are underway and expected to be filled after successful completion of background investigations. In addition, the library and recreation programs have been limited by COVID health orders and account for $239,000 and $175,000 of the underrun, respectively. Through June, 92% Measure U expenditures have been spent on public safety, 3% on youth services, and 5% on quality of life. As for the enterprise funds, the wastewater and wastewater fund expenditures exceeded revenues by $11.4 million. Total revenues are about 7.5%, or $3.9 million higher than last year due to implementation of new water and sewer rates. Operational costs are under budget by 9.4%, primarily due to vacancies and contract services deferred to next fiscal year. Capital expenditures are about $65,000 less than the prior year, and state water payments are $3.2 million less than 1920. The semi-annual debt service payments, a total of $4.6 million, are for the 2012 AB refunding bonds. For the solid waste fund, revenues exceeded expenditures by about $861,000. Operating expenses are 10.9% or $2.3 million more than the prior year, while revenues are up 6.4% or $1.8 million. About $422,000 or 15.5% more resources were expended for capital projects. The majority of capital costs were for 3 projects: $720,000 for the Los Flores landfill development, $878,800 for landfill liner expansion, and $574,300 spent on landfill collection gas system expansion. The transit fund fourth quarter revenues are more than expenditures by about $481,000. Fare revenue through the fourth quarter is about $71,000 and is approximately $592,000 or 89% less than received in the previous fiscal year. The significant decline is due to the city waiving transit fees to assist customers during the emergency shutdown order relating to the coronavirus. The city waived approximately $399,000 of fares in fiscal year 2021, as well as $140,000 of fares waived in the fourth quarter of 2019-20. The fare box ratio through June 2021 is 2.3%, but would have been 15.3% had the fares not been waived. Effective July 1st, 2021, the city is no longer waiving fares and began restoring transit routes. That concludes my report, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Any questions of Ms. Harvey?
What are the transit fares? How much is the cost of transit fares? Okay. Oh, that's okay. Yeah. You can get it to me later.
Yeah, we certainly can get that to you later.
Madam Clerk, do we have any written correspondence or requests to speak?
And no, ma'am, we do not.
Any further discussion, the council? Thank you, and the quarterly report has been received and will be filed. Next item will be a report by the city manager, Mr. Stilwell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. The next meeting of the city council is September 7th, and that'll be an off-site meeting at the Veterans Memorial Building on 313 West Tunnel. And the main item on that agenda will again be to receive public comment on the upcoming redistricting process for the city's election districts. Also on that agenda will be a consideration of canceling the September 21st meeting, as that is the same week that the League of California Cities is holding its conference in Sacramento. And I believe most council members, or all council members, and a number of staff are going. It's an important conference to go to with the state regulations, the state policies, the state laws that are moving forward that impact the city. So it's important for us to be up there, and canceling the meeting will allow us to be able to travel and attend the conference. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Stilwell. Next item is oral reports of council members. Mr. Cordero, can we start with you?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On the 12th of August, I met with retired Mayor Lupe Alvarez in Guadalupe. I know that the Dan Blau project is coming up for the H2A thing in Area 9, and I really had some serious reservations about it, and I wanted to talk with somebody in that field. So I met over there and take another look, much like we did at the one over on Nicholson. You were there, and just to see what might have changed. And I was pleased with the information that I gained, and would certainly recommend that to any of us that want to take a look and see what H2A is developed into now. And on my way back from there, I stopped by the trucking place on Stowe Road. Have you been there?
I drove by the other day.
Yeah, that's remarkable.
It is.
They did everything they said they were going to do. I drove around. It's all fenced. They had 7 bays, and each one of them had a big truck in them that they were working on. So it's a remarkable facility, and I know that when we were out there together, it was just a field, and we were stepping in gopher holes and stuff, and they did everything plus. It looks like a real Class A facility, and I think it's going to be a welcome addition to the city of Santa Maria. On the 13th, I attended the police council dinner out at the golf course. I don't play golf, so I just went to the dinner. It was a great function. It was really heartwarming to see the support that our police department, under the guidance of Chief Schneider, gets from the community. It was extremely well done. They had a comedian there that was just incredible. And I really enjoyed his comedy, and he was able to make us all laugh without a lot of bad language. And I really appreciated that class. And I know that they talked about you quite a bit, with you quite a bit. And it was just a great function, and it was great to see the support that our community has for our police department. And then on the 21st, I attended the Elks kickoff dinner for the rodeo queens. And that likewise was a great function. And the Glines family did the same. They just switched positions from what you saw out at the golf tournament. And John did the calling, and Jim was out doing the other portion of it.
Yeah.
So very well done, and it's great to see those things coming back into fruition in our community. It was really heartwarming to see these things coming back, and I was particularly impressed with how the matter went on out at the police department. Council that put it on. It was very well organized, and just a real positive impression for our community. That's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Escobedo?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Last August 14, I also attended the Elks dinner. It was really fun and really inspiring event. I mean, I had the opportunity talking with the past queen and the princess and the current candidates, and they all have great causes they represent. So I think I like rodeo, I like the music, but the most important thing is the heart they put to put themselves out there for a great cause. So I really admire them. Also, I drove by. I've been driving around my district, and I visited the North Blosser Road Improvement project, and I also received comments from the community that they've seen a reduced amount of cars racing in that area. So that's a good sign that, especially we got the River Levy families wanting to go for a hike, kids playing around. So hopefully it's going to stay like that. Hopefully the community will support that, and yeah, that's pretty much. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Waterfield?
Yes, Madam Mayor, on Friday, August the 13th, the Santa Maria Police Council, is what Mike alluded to, held their 12th annual golf tournament and comedy dinner. And we had a sold-out crowd of golfers, 144 golfers. We had a waiting list. We had a waiting list for dinner. We had 300 strong in that whole event. The sponsorship was tremendous. We grossed at that, I'm looking at the records right now, $237,000 for our police officers. What the Santa Maria Police Council does is that they raise money for equipment, materials, and training for our police department. And that's everything that's out of the city budget that the budget cannot afford to buy and outfit our police officers. So it was a great event. Our mayor brought a lemon meringue pie and some cream puffs, and those sold for $1,800. So that was a great push. We had a lot of other desserts brought to us, by our chief of police wife, all the wives. We had sergeants, we had commanders, we had all of them bringing dessert auctions, and our dessert auctions ran up to about $8,000, and they were cakes and pies and things like that. But we did good on our fund to need, and we were very successful. But I just want to thank all of the people that participated in this event, because it showed a strong support of how much this community supports our police department. And one thing that was said, and even by our comedian that he noticed, he said, we don't defund our police department in Santa Maria, we fund them, and we fund them to be stronger. And it's because we have such a great group of men and women who go out there and do a good job. And in our community, we even have requests to put more police officers on the streets. And it's just something that I am so proud to be a part of, and we have a great team, great board of directors, and they have just been phenomenal in what they do for this cause. And so I just want to thank everybody for being there. Andrew was there, Jason was there, Mike was there, Alice was there. It was just fantastic. And Mike, you're right, that comedian, his name was Kevin Jordan, and he was a former LA cop. And he had great stories, so it was just enlightening for everyone to be there. That's it.
Ms. Soto.
Madam Mayor, I need to try your $1,800 pies. My birthday's tomorrow. If you
I still have a little bit of it left. I'll sell you for $500.
no reportable items.
Your turn.
No reportable items.
Nothing, okay. August 4th, you did the Day of Hope fundraiser. You out on the median, which was illegal, I was told.
Running across, but as long as
You're not supposed to stand in the median. Anyway. But
you collected a lot,
today,
didn't you?
I think, but yeah, you collected a lot of money. So I think that they raised
the
about
competitive spirit in me.
$130,000 that day, and more is still coming in. Later that day, did the updated Santa Maria Key Leaders call, went to the Santa Barbara County redistricting hearing at the Board of Supervisors. On August 7th, I did the teleconference on Livable California, which is about housing. August 10th, I attended the Recreation and Parks Commission meeting in this room. On the 11th, the North County Subregional meeting. August 12th, I spoke to retired employees of Santa Barbara County. On the 13th, I attended the Police Council dinner, and it was absolutely packed. And again, Ms. Waterfield, the support for our police officers is just phenomenal. August 15th, attended the concerts in the park.
Oh, yeah.
At Rotary Centennial Park. And I want the August 29th will be Los Gatos Locos at the Equistapache Park. And September 12th will be Steppin' Out at the Equistapache Park. So everyone put that on your calendars. It's really fun. Our recs and parks do such a fantastic job. I can't say enough about that. I have driven Blosser Road, and they are really doing a good job. That's called what, road dieting? Road dieting. So it makes it smaller, because that's like a speedway there. People get on there and they're just speeding. On the 17th, did the Ben Hayes show, and that is it. Any other comments from the dais?
Madam Mayor, I neglected to mention that I did the Ben Hayes show after the last council.
Okay. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is adjourned.
Do you know